In this video, we are going to talk about the transit of Rahu into the sign of Taurus and Ketu into the sign of Scorpio, and what would be the effect of this transit. So keep watching. Namaste and welcome to Pramanik Astrology channel. I'm your host Prasad Mahazani, help you raise your vibrations and become your true self with the help of Vedic astrology. This video will be in 3 parts. In first part, we'll talk about the Rahu into the sign of Taurus. In another part, in the next part, we'll talk about the important dates. And in the third part, we'll talk about how to judge the transit of the Rahu. Okay, we are not going to talk about Rahu for all ascendants. Okay, let's get started. First, Rahu into the sign of Taurus and Ketu into the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio is the sign of transformation. Scorpio is all about the ups and downs and all that hidden and 8th house things, right? And now Rahu is into the sign of Taurus. So it is quite natural for Rahu to be in the Scorpio, Rahu to be into the sign of Taurus when Ketu is in Scorpio. Ketu is all about things which we have already experienced in the past life. So for this person, the Ketu in the Scorpio, it is all about the transformation, ups and downs, and all the Scorpion realm, which is unstable, intense, and highly energetic. Okay, so in this lifetime, so in Rahu, this person always seeks the stability. This person always want that resourcefulness, the tangible things at his disposal to nourish himself, like money, food, family to take care of. All these things can be seen with the the Taurus. Rahu into the sign of Taurus. Now, this is the Rashi placement we are talking about. But this video is not about the natal placement. This video is about the transit of the Rahu. Okay, what happens when you have Rahu transiting through the sign of Taurus? What happens when Rahu transits through the sign of Taurus? Wherever Rahu transits in through any signs, it brings the element of that Rashi to the surface. What do I mean by that? Now, all the Taurus realm, all the Taurus significations will surface out. What are the Taurus things? Security, money, materialistic approach, food, speech, family, resourcefulness, responsibilities. All these things will surface out. And now Rahu will make you give attention towards these things. Okay, but this is again the Rashi placement. We'll talk about the house placement and all that stuff in the next part, but just to give you a hint, wherever you have Taurus sign placed into your horoscope will be the focus for the next 18 months. Okay, you may be having a Taurus moon, you may be having a Taurus ascendant, you may be having Taurus into your 10th house, in the 6th house, into the 8th house, 12th house, 11th house, 4th house, anywhere. That area of your life with the Taurus significations is going to surface out. Okay, and is going to bring in some kind of opportunity in that area of your life. Next, the dates, the important dates and the degrees as well. Rahu will move to the sign of Taurus on 23rd of September 2020, and it will be still into the Mrigashira Nakshatra. Remember, few padas of the Mrigashira Nakshatra are also into the sign of Taurus, and Rahu is always moving retrograde. So now Rahu is moving from the Gemini to the Taurus. From Mrigashira, it will move to the sign of, to the nakshatra of Rohini, but not right now. Right now, it is just changing the sign into the same nakshatra. Okay. What is the Mrigashira nakshatra? Mrigashira nakshatra is about the seeking the information for the enlightenment, seeking that information for the healing or spirituality, right? Now, it is going to change the sign on 23rd of December. Usually, Rahu stays in one nakshatra for around 8 months and Ketu as well. Okay, roughly 8 months. Sometimes the degrees and the padas changes, but roughly it is around 8 months in a one nakshatra. Okay, so now it will change to the Rohini nakshatra in January, in the last few days of the January, like 21st of January, it will move to the Rohini nakshatra. Okay, and what is the Rohini nakshatra? Rohini nakshatra is the nakshatra of creation. Rohini nakshatra is the nakshatra of healing, right? It has the deity of Soma, so it brings in that healing, right? So this is an important shift. This Rahu, which has come from the Ardra to the Mrigashira and is going to the Rohini. So you can feel that shift from March 2020 to the August 2020 right now, and we'll move to the January 2021. We are slowly healing. Okay, so yes, these are the important dates for the Rahu. Next is we supposed to talk about degrees as well, right? Okay, so when Rahu is into the last few degrees, or should I say first few degrees? Okay, when Rahu is into the degrees 23rd, 23, 20 to the 30 degrees of the Taurus, it is a great placement for any material gains or any material success. Okay, and when it moves from the 23rd and when it goes into the 16th degree or the 13th degree, it becomes more of a spiritual planet. It becomes more suitable for the spirituality. It brings out the spirituality in you. So next one, how to judge the Rahu transit. Okay, we get a lot of questions as to how we can judge a Rahu transit. The first thing to look out for, where is the sign of Taurus? Now we are talking about Taurus because right now we are discussing it, but what you have to look for in any horoscope, you just have to check the sign where Rahu is transiting through. In our case, it is transiting through the sign of Taurus. So let us say you have Taurus ascendant, and now the Taurus is transiting from the first house. So what you can expect, right? So wherever you have the Taurus sign, that will be the focus of the Taurus. Rahu wants to bring out transformation in that area of your life. Okay. Next thing to look out for is always check the Chandra Lagna and the ascendant, like moon chart as well as the Lagna chart for the transit, and combine it. Sometimes it is confusing, so always look for both the charts for the confirmation. Next, wherever you have Rahu transiting through your chart, you will experience certain kind of optimism and opportunity in that area. Okay, let's say you have Rahu transiting through the 10th house, so you will have certain opportunities at your workplace. Okay, let's say your Rahu is transiting through your 8th house. You are Sagittarius ascendant and Rahu is transiting through the 8th house of your horoscope. What it shows is it is going to make you travel. It is going to make you travel a lot during this time. Okay, So there is always an opportunity with the Rahu placement. Next is, wherever you have Rahu placed in, always look for the lords of the two planets, Rahu and Ketu. In this case, Rahu is transiting through the Taurus and Ketu is transiting through the Scorpio. So the lord of the Rahu is Venus. The lord of the Ketu is Mars. Always look for these two planets. Always look what's happening with these planets, whether they are exalted, whether they are combust, debilitated, Vargottama, in Pushkar Navamsha, all that stuff. You have to look for all these stuffs before you just start into the predicting the transits. Because these two planets are going to rule the Rahu and Ketu for the next 18 months, right? And this is, there are so many combinations, like in Rahu and Ketu in Gemini and Sagittarius, it was Mercury and Jupiter. Jupiter does not change sign in a year, whereas Mercury changes in 90 days. So if you are Rahu into the Mercury sign, there will be a lot of changes. Okay, so you always have to think about these two planets. Which two planets? The lords of the Rahu and Ketu, and their dignity, strength, and all that stuff. Next is, whenever you are judging the Rahu transit, always look for the sudden things around that house. Okay, let's say you have Rahu into the 4th house or the 12th house, and you will see that you have a sudden foreign opportunity. You will have sudden opportunity with the spiritual discipline. On the negative side, the Rahu transit can bring in confusion. This Rahu transit can bring in certain amount of overconfidence, overindulgence related to the house where Rahu is transiting. Okay, and now Rahu, when it is into the sign of Taurus, it becomes even more materialistic. Okay, next, another thing of the Rahu into the sign of Taurus is it shows the divine side of the material things. It is an Asura, so he will show you the divine side to all the material things. He will make, and this is not false thing. Sometimes we think that material is bad, spiritual is good. That is not always the case. Anything in excess is poison. Okay, always remember that. So when you have Rahu into the sign of Taurus, it becomes even more materialistic, and it shows that divinity in the material things. We are talking about the downsides of the Rahu transit. Rahu transit can bring in that overconfidence, which can result into the aggressive or rash behavior, which can result into certain negative results as well. So you have to be careful. So wherever you have Rahu into the wherever you have Taurus sign, so always be patient about that house. Okay, you will have certain kind of opportunities there. There will be a prospect and future to that house, but always be grounded. Don't get overindulged. Don't become overconfident, because there is a tendency of Rahu to get never satisfied and keep moving and become obsessive about that. You have to be careful with that aspect of Rahu. So yes, this was Rahu's transit through the sign of Taurus in September 2020. As much as I could hold, grasp, and share with you, sending you tons of positive energy, sending you high vibes. See you in the next videos. Love and peace.